Hello everyone, my name is Natalie and this is Garden Air, and today I wanted to talk about Keikis on the Phalenopsis orchid. So I'm going to show you one that I have that has 4 Keikis on it, and I'll tell you what to do when you see them appearing on your orchid. Okay, so we're going to hone in on this little guy right here, and I just purchased this orchid because it is absolutely covered in keikis. There's a lot going on with this orchid, and I'm actually going to go through it and tell you everything that I'm seeing happening with this little guy, because there is actually a lot. So if you haven't seen my video yet on the video I just did recently on terminal spikes on your orchids, you might want to go ahead and watch that first. I will actually link it down for you below. Watch the video on terminal spikes and then come back so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's take a look at this little guy. I was at the store today and I was just looking through their orchids, and this one just really caught my attention. And there's just so much going on with this orchid. The more I picked it up and looked at it, the more I saw going on. And I'm like, this would be a great orchid to do a video on, because there's so much that I can point out and talk about. So first of all, you can see it does have a flower spike. So it's spiking just fine and is going to bloom. It also has a terminal spike coming up through the center of the orchid, which is not a good sign. I wouldn't have bought this orchid if I had just seen the terminal spike. I would have just left it alone. Again, watch my video on terminal spikes. It'll tell you all about what that is and what that means for your orchid, and why I wouldn't have purchased it if it wasn't for it being loaded with keikis. These keikis are the only reason I purchased this orchid, since a terminal spike does mean that this orchid will eventually die. It's not going to further grow, but all of these babies are just all over it. So I did end up buying 4 baby orchids on top of this plant that will live for a while longer. This plant might still live for another couple of years. It just isn't going to grow any new leaves beyond this one's that's coming out, and it will eventually die. I will enjoy some flowers off of it from this flower spike, but these keikis were really what I was after. So I have all of these beautiful babies. Now a keiki will form on a flower spike, and it does need the mother plant for a very long time. So you want to leave the flower spikes intact while the keiki begins to grow. And you're going to be watching for it to start developing its own roots. This little keiki does have some root development coming off right here, but I'm not going to be in a hurry to take her off and get her planted. I want to make sure her roots are going to be substantial enough to support the keiki's life. You can't just stick these guys in water and hope that they're going to develop roots. They really require the mother plant for a pretty long time, so never rush your keikis off the stems. It's not like, rooting say a philodendron or a pothos from a cutting. You're not going to have that kind of rooting when it comes to a keiki orchid, or an orchid's keiki. So let's turn this little one around. This one's developing pretty nicely. We've got some nice leaf development, and it actually has a flower spike of its own. So this little keiki is actually going to bloom, but I don't see roots yet. So this one will definitely need to stay on the mother for a very long time. It's putting energy into blooming. So as long as the health of the mother stays fine for the time being, this little guy will be fine. I can let it bloom and develop some roots. This keiki down here doesn't have any roots yet, so this one will also need time. So it's very exciting to have these little baby orchids coming. And that's exactly what keikis are. They're just baby orchids, and they will be an exact replica of its mother. So whatever your mother is flowering, which this is a mystery to me. I have no idea what color these blooms are going to be until they open. these guys will put off the same exact flower. So I'm very excited. Even if she does have a terminal spike, this terminal spike will actually continue to branch up, and it will flower too. So she's very prolific as far as branching flowers goes, and then with 4 Keikis on her, she doesn't seem to have a problem really blooming or anything like that, throwing off life. Since she did go into a terminal spike, throwing off Keikis is kind of an orchid's last resort to say, okay, I'm probably not going to make it for much longer. I need to spread some further life. So they throw some Keikis out. Usually, if you're lucky. They don't always throw a Keiki out, which I explain in my other video. So I'm very excited. I just wanted to share with you that I have some Keikis to develop, and I'll be experimenting with these guys. I think this was a really good find regardless of the terminal spike. I was really excited to see these Keikis. So I'm going to just put it up with my other orchids. I'm going to let her bloom. I'm going to let these Keikis stay on and start developing roots of their own. I can show you in time when it's time to take them off and to pot them up and let them start doing their own thing. I'll do a video on that so you know how to pot a Keiki and take care of it once it's ready to leave its mother plant. I just can't stress enough, do not rush them off their mother. They need their mother completely 100% while they're in this stage with no roots. She will feed them, she will take care of them. They can't do anything on their own at this point in a pot. So wait for the video coming along later on so that I can show you then what I'll be doing with these guys once they're ready to go. And I am just so excited. So that's my excitement about the Keikis, and I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys very soon. Have a wonderful day. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will talk with you guys very soon. Bye.